Well, I'm continuing the study of some of my favorite verses, starting back in Revelation and going forward to Genesis. And we're still in the book of James because James has so many good verses in it, so many that I really love. And uh, I can't tell you how many times I've used parts of today's scripture in funeral services because it talks about the brevity of life. But let's take a look at James chapter 4, verses 13 through 17, because it deals with more than that. Come now, you who say today or tomorrow we'll go in such and such a city and spend a year or there and engage in business and make a profit. Yet you do not know what your life will be like tomorrow. You're just a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live, also do this or that. But as it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. Now watch this last verse. Therefore, to one who knows the right thing to do and does not do it, to him it is sin. Now, there's a couple of different thoughts here that I think we need to be careful about. The first thought, of course, is in the first part of this verses 13 through 17, and that is that we may have grandiose plans about doing something and making a lot of money. And the fact of the matter is, God directs our steps, and whether or not he wants us to be able to do something or make a lot of money, that's entirely up to him. But the very important part is in verse 14, where it says, you don't know what your life will be like tomorrow. We're not guaranteed a tomorrow. Today on the news, there was a convenience store that was held up. The owner of the store and his wife were taken to their home. There was an attempt to rob not only from the store, but also from the home. And the wife of the store owners was shot and is in critical condition. I'm sure when they got up that morning to open up their convenience store, they had no idea that that day might be their last day. And they had no idea that that day would end as it did. Nor do we. We don't have any guarantees for tomorrow. We may be in perfect health. A drunk driver may cross over the line and hit us head on and take us out of this world in just a fleeting moment. Life is like a vapor. It's here just a few seconds and then it's gone. Sometimes we sit here on our deck and we look out across the lake and the clouds drop down and we can't even see the other side of the lake. But then you take a look in just a second and the vapor has lifted and you see clearly to the other side. That's the way life is. Here today, gone tomorrow. We don't have any guarantees for tomorrow. And we're presumptuous when we think that we have the ability to control what day is going to be our last day here on earth. It's a very appropriate verse to remind everyone to make the most out of each day. Make it worth something. Exchange it for something of value. Share something with someone else. Today, I was recalling the little quip that one of the pastors made at the pastors' conference, and he said, we need to be a little bit like dogs. He said, we need to wag more and bark less. I think there's a lot of truth to that. We need to be a little bit happier about things and a little bit more determined about good things than we are about always barking at everything. Nevertheless, here's a good verse for us. That we should remember that we don't have any guarantees of tomorrow, and we need to do the best we can with today and make sure that it counts for the Lord. But the last part of this, the third thought in this short little section of Scripture, is probably the most profound. He that knows what is right to do and does not do it, to him it's sin. I was convicted during the last few weeks about helping with a relief effort. And I procrastinated for several days in writing some checks and sending them off to the North Carolina Baptist Association and to the South Carolina Baptist Association, where I knew 100% of it would be used for disaster relief from Florence. If I had known what was to do and I didn't do it, it would be sin. And if I had not been careful, after all of the news gone off the TV, I might have forgotten altogether that I had committed myself, that I was going to write those checks. You see, it's not only the sin of commission, it's also the sin of omission. God been speaking to you about doing something? God been speaking to you about the fact that you don't have a guarantee for tomorrow and that there's some things you need to do today? Maybe this is the time for you to do it. And by the way, my brother says he thinks that I put catnip all over the back of my seat to get Jasmine to sit up there and look straight into the camera on yesterday's devotion. I didn't do that. As a matter of fact, most of the time, Jasmine doesn't like noise. And she particularly doesn't like it when I come in here to the office and start speaking into this camera. She usually goes to the opposite end of the house. I don't know what caused her to do that, but a lot of people really enjoyed it. So Jasmine had her minute of fame. And I think that several of the people that watched really enjoyed it. That's my thought for the day. God bless you and have a good day.